guys, and welcome back to the 2023-24 SDPN NHL season previews. Now we go on to the Stanley Cup champions, the party animals in the Vegas Golden Knights. Are they still a team that can win another Stanley Cup? How good will they do this next year? Well, we're going to be dissecting their entire offseason, previewing what is next for the Stanley Cup winners. But before we do, let's first shout out today's sponsor, of course, in Sports Interaction. Get in on the action and make your bet with Sports Interaction. MLB season is wanting to close. A lot of other sports starting to start up. Bet before the game or live and play with all your favorite teams. Head to sportsinteraction.com/STPN or download the app to get started. 19 plus. Please play it responsibly. Now let's start today's preview off with the subtractions and the additions. And first, let's start off with who the Vegas Golden Knights out of this offseason and... well, if it ain't broke. Yeah, that's right. The Vegas Golden Knights did not sign anybody, then trade for anybody. Nobody on the roster right now is new. But for the Vegas Golden Knights, I mean, is that really a problem whatsoever? They basically sacrificed this offseason to keep as much of the roster intact as humanly possible. And if you're Vegas, why the heck wouldn't you? Now, when we go to the players they subtracted this offseason, the big one is Riley Smith, who was exchanged for a third-round pick as a pure cap dump, making $5 million. And it's tough to see him go with how solid the production has been over the last few years, around that 50-point range for the most part for all these last few seasons, being a solid top 6 contributor, a great second liner. He's definitely going to be missed for sure. Now, on to the three next players that aren't going to be really missed as much. You got Phil Kessel, which, I mean, any team is sad to miss him, of course. He's filled up thrill, but didn't really play much of a part for the Golden Knights this last year. Got 36 points in 82 games, but in the playoffs wasn't much of a factor. You also lose Teddy Blujas, who they acquired at the trade deadline, got 6 points in 18 games. Again, wasn't a huge part of that playoff roster either. And then you lose Jonathan Quick, who also wasn't a big part. Besides Riley Smith, not a lot of bloodshed here for Vegas, and that's amazing. Next up, though, let's move on to three Knights players that could kind of negate some of that Stanley Cup fatigue. First, I got Ivan Barbashev, who was, of course, a trade deadline acquisition for them last year, played 23 games in the regular season, got 16 points, and they got 18 points in 22 playoff games. Was unbelievable for them. Likely will be still in that same spot, potentially on that first line this next year. Give it a great opportunity to put up massive offensive results. He likely will, and having him for the entire season will be amazing, will be awesome, will be instrumental to that Knights top 6, especially with Riley Smith gone. Now onto my second player to watch, I got Nick Hague, who was a beast for the Knights last year and always, and at 24 is still in a position to get better and better, but at 6'6", 214 pounds is a mammoth, and this last year played a full 81 games, not full, but you know what I mean, 81 games, got 17 points, and was fantastic for the Knights in the playoffs. 6 points in 22 games, but defensively was superb. Amazing skater, amazing quickness for his size. He's a player, though, that's going to be rising up the ranks as maybe some of that Knights defense gets a little bit older. I could see a situation where Martinez maybe gets lesser ice time. Hague comes into that left D, and we'll see what happens. But Hague is one of the future D of this Knights D core, and is already looking fantastic. But going on to my third player to watch for the Knights this next year, one of the most interesting goaltenders out there in my opinion, and that is Logan Thompson. Now, I could go for Adin Hill. We're going to talk about him in a minute, but Logan Thompson is fascinating. He came onto the scene, played 37 games for the Knights, got a .915 save percentage. At the start of the season was one of the Calder candidates, was one of the big guys up there in the rookie race, and after that injury obviously teetered off, but people don't really realize how good he was early on in that season. If he's the backup for Adin Hill, and if Adin Hill is able to still play solidly, that's a really good goaltending tandem and could be a massive strength. But Thompson is even in a position where he could be a great goaltender next year, and maybe at points is the starter over Adin Hill. It seems crazy to think about, but Adin Hill hasn't had the greatest regular season pedigree. Logan Thompson could surpass him immediately. But that does lead me on to the biggest question with this Vegas Golden Knights roster, and that is, can Adin Hill capture that playoff magic again? 27 years old, he got that multi-year deal, and is proven to do solidly when he needs to. I mean, in the playoffs, .932 save percentage, 16 games, absolute monster. In the regular season, too, a .915 save percentage in 27 games, too. Not a slouch there whatsoever. Last year, though, was by far his best season in the NHL, his most consistent through the regular season and the playoffs. But if he's able to carry that over the regular season, that makes Vegas a lot more scary with that goaltending, and especially with how good Logan Thompson can be when healthy, that makes it one of the more sneaky goaltending tandems in the league, where I don't think either one is monstrously better than the other, but two guys that could be starters when they need to. And hey, for the Knights, that's exactly what the goaltending was like last year, where they switched through so many different guys, Thompson, then Brossoit, then Hill as their starters. I mean, it could work again this next season. In saying that though, I don't know how strong the regular season will be for them. I could see a little bit of a slump at the start with just how much they partied, how Vegas parties, and I feel like we could see maybe in the first month or so, kind of like a 500 record, but Vegas eventually getting over that hump, getting a little more consistent around the All-Star break, and finishing high in the Pacific Division. I see them getting around 103 to 106 points, being second in the Pacific, behind Edmonton, but still one of the better teams out there, and playoff-wise, still one of the best built for the playoffs. Let us know down below, do you see the Golden Knights taking a little bit of a step back? Do you still see them being one of the best teams in the Pacific? Do you see them repeating, winning the Stanley Cup again for the second straight year? Let us know all your predictions down below. Of course, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Thank you guys so much for supporting. 32 teams in 32 days, and we have 2 days left of this amazing series. Washington and Winnipeg are next, so we hope to see you there for that. Have a great day, drink some water, and goodbye.